So, microphones are coming on. And a very good evening. It's 7 o'clock. I want to welcome you all to the regular meeting of the Bedminster Township Committee for May 15th, 2017. We have a quorum tonight. Mr. Stevenson is down the street at the 8th grade awards ceremony, presenting the Township Awards, and he may know of a recipient while he's there. So he is expected to be with us a little bit later. Can I have the Open Public Meetings Act?
Yes, sir. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Committee was sent to the Courier News in Somerville, the Burnetsville News in Burnetsville, and to all subscribers. Also posted here at the Township Municipal Building as of January 9th, 2017.
I'll ask you all to join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have two sets of meeting minutes on tonight's agenda. Those are both the May 1st regular and executive session. Does anybody have any comments or changes? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Thank you.
Permits and raffles, we have a lot of them tonight. Social affair permit for the Bedminster Township PBA, number 366. That's June 17th, 9 a.m. to dusk, River Road Park, Miller Lane Park, and that's here in Bedminster. A social affair permit for the Pingree School, June 26, 2017, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the Hamilton Farm Golf Club. Social affair permit for the Deirdre O'Brien Child Advocacy Center on June 19th, 2017, 11:30 a.m., 8:30 p.m. at the Hamilton Farm Golf Club. A social affair permit for the Concussion Legacy Foundation. That's June 12th, 11 a.m. to 11:30 p.m., Hamilton Farm Golf Club. An on-premise merchandise raffle, Center for Contemporary Art, September 7th, 2017, 6 to 8 p.m. That's 2020 Burnt Mills Road. And an on-premise merchandise raffle for the Center for Contemporary Art. That's November 3rd, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., 2020 Burnt Mills Road. And a social affair permit for the Center for Contemporary Art, November 3rd, 2017, 6 to 10 p.m., also 2020 Burnt Mills Road. And a social affair permit for the Children's Miracle Network, June 26, 2017, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's the Trump National Golf Club. And we will hit the last two items separately. Any comments or questions on the first group? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
The last two are a fireworks permit for the Trump National Golf Club, May 28, 2017, Memorial Day, and a special event permit for the Trump National Golf Club, July 10th through July 16th. So first we'll hit the fireworks permit, and then we'll bring some folks up to talk about the other event. Come on up, get up to that microphone, state your name for the audio portion of the recording.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the committee.
Your name, sir?
Robert W. Totten Jr. and Director of Security for Trump National Bedminster.
First thing, is this about the fireworks?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there going to be anything unusual or different than in years past?
No, sir. It's going to be the same. Fireworks as soon as it's dark for the enjoyment of our members and our guests.
Okay. Mr. Anderson, anything, have you checked in on this?
Yes, I have. I've reviewed the application, and everything seems in order with according to the New Jersey Uniform Fire Code.
Chief?
Everything looks good. It's just, it's a yearly event, and, the package is the same.
Anything else you want to add? Any questions from the dais?
No. Thank you, Mayor.
Can I get a motion for item I?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
And finally, a special event permit, Trump National Golf Club. This, I believe, is what this package is all about. Please come forward, state your name for the audio recording, and tell us all about it. I know there's been a lot of preparation.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mayor and committee. It's our pleasure to be here this evening. On behalf of the 2017 U.S. Women's Open Executive Committee, I want to thank you all for your time this evening to talk about the championship, introduce you to the U.S. Women's Open and our special event permit per the application. I also want to take time in the beginning, though, to recognize a few people from our side and thank some special people as well. To my left, General Manager of Trump National Golf Club, Mr. David Schutzenhofer. Rob Totten, our Director of Security, introduced himself from Trump National Golf Club. We also have from the United States Golf Association, Mr. Matt Sawicki in the back of the room here.
And just for the record, your name, sir?
I apologize. I'm John Dolan. I'm the Championship Director.
Thank you.
Of course. So I did leave a pack of information on your desks in front of you. And in thanking the folks on our team, I also want to thank the folks here from the township. We've been privileged to work with the folks here as we're guests of Bedminster for the past year and a half. And we've been honored to work with, first and foremost, Miss Judy Sullivan, who's been our liaison to the township and our kind of ambassador, if you will, championship, but also those officers and officials with the township who have given their time and energy to support us, guide us through not only this permitting process, but also through the championship and the nuances. We also want to thank the business of Bedminster who have opened their arms, as well as the residents who have embraced the championship wholeheartedly, as we've seen from lots of different avenues through the championship. If I will, I'll direct your attention to the PowerPoint here that we have for you. And in addressing a number of championship applications to your special event permit, I want to talk about not only what's in this application, but also introduce you to the championship itself. This will be the 72nd playing of the United States Women's Open, hosted by the USGA. It's the oldest and most prestigious championship for women's golf in the world. We'll welcome 156 players from around the country and around the world to compete right here in Bedminster. It's a national championship and a global brand, but also it recognizes and highlights New Jersey and especially Bedminster, which we're especially proud of, along with the championship facility that we have here at Trump National Bedminster. This event will also be aired around the world through Fox television. We've broadcast over 40 countries. Again, putting the spotlight, I'd like to say for the first time, but certainly not, here in Bedminster and your town, as well as a golf club. Regarding public safety, in regards to your special event permit, we want to walk through some of our measures that we've taken per your recommendation and per our experience in previous championships. National has a security personnel on 24/7 a day, 7 days a week at the club. Starting 8 weeks out, which actually begins tonight, the championship will provide 9 private security guards as well as 1 law enforcement official to help patrol the golf course. It's imperative for us to protect the golf club at this time frame to ensure that it's ready for championship play and we don't receive any unwanted visitors or guests on the property that may damage or do harm to the championship facility in this time frame, as it's crucial for us to have the club ready and prepared for July 10th through 16th. The club and the championship is working closely with federal, state, county, and local law enforcement agencies. And Somerset County has taken the lead as our lead agency, providing their guidance and experience in officers that are leading us, are also organizing Office of Emergency Management as well as EMS. We've hired a private security firm to help round out those necessary duties, not only during the championship, but as I mentioned prior to, and that'll be EES, Executive Event Securities, out of Yorba Linda, California. I encourage, if there are any questions that pop up here throughout the presentation, please feel free to interrupt me. Security will be present 24/7 throughout the week of the championship. Somerset County will provide its mobile command center, which will be Joint Operations Command Center. That was all of our law enforcement agencies. Location will be near the first hole of play, really the center of the golf course. I'll provide a few maps to go through here in just a moment. The 2 first aid locations providing and making sure that our guests and spectators on site will be well taken care of. We're expecting in excess of 60,000 people to attend the championship over the course of a week, averaging about 5,000 people a day. Atlantic Health Systems here in town through Morristown Medical Center will provide all of our healthcare needs, including ambulance services relating to the championship and the championship week. For Copperwith Road, which bisects the golf club, we're asking for some special consideration in regard to Copperwith to help secure our property and provide an operating avenue for us to conduct our championship. I would like to request Copperwith Road be closed starting today through July 26th. Access would be limited, but not closed at club boundaries until a temporary fence and gates are in place. The championship is working closely with emergency services, including Chief Rock, the United States Postal Service, and Bedminster Township School District to accommodate necessary access for those groups. The chair requests a temporary construction of a 42-foot roundabout, and I'll show you on the next map as we get to it, on Copperthwaite Road, which create a bus depot for our needs throughout the championship week. We'd also like to notify the neighbors on Copperthwaite and the surrounding area of the change of traffic pattern for Copperthwaite Road. We do that via certified mail and make our staff available for any questions or comments. As you'll notice on this map, I provide a larger club map to the left-hand side as well for more perspective. The circle, as I mentioned, will be about 42 feet wide radius and located just adjacent to what I'll call our fan center, which will be noted here later. Another layer of security which we would like to impose starting immediately would be a perimeter fence that would secure the championship golf club as well as the championship course for the next 2.5 months. It would surround the perimeter as well as attaching itself to already existing structures and natural deterrents that would secure our property and help deter those wanting to gain access to the championship golf course and facility. Maybe asking 60,000 people, where are we going to park them? Well, thankfully, again, the neighborhood here in Bedminster have been extremely supportive, and Red Tail Farm has led that way. They will serve as our general parking lot. Adjacent to the club, fans will enter off Lamington Road onto Copperthwaite and exit through the main gate of Red Tail Farm. So we'll park the majority of our folks on that Red Tail Farm lot that I'll show in this next map. Fans will be shuttled from Red Tail to the championship via Copperthwaite Road, which is why that bus depot is imperative for our success, so we can turn those buses around, bring them right back to Red Tail Farm, not have to access public roads and impede anyone's natural causes or natural traffic patterns throughout the work week. The bus company is a local vendor. We've hired Country Club Services out of Millburn. A couple other parking locations on property. Fourth hole of the new course will be for our executives and VIPs. We'll enter via Elizabeth Lane. Championship participants, those who are playing and competing that week at the club, will enter our main gate. That'll be our VIP entrance, and we expect about 200 cars entering on a daily basis through our main gate. Here's another map for your reference, denoting all different parking lots, as well as the route from Red Tail Farm as we head on to Copperthwaite Road, making that loop around, as I mentioned before, that 42-foot loop coming back to Copperthwaite, creating a natural bus depot for us. To give you an idea of the bus depot and the main entrance to the championship, we're going to do a sizable footprint for our championship, really providing a great welcome for those guests and visitors who will be not only coming from around the area, around the state, not only from around the country, but from around the world, experiencing this event firsthand. We've been working in conjunction with the construction officers, as well as fire, health and services construction officers, as well as the zoning officials to make sure that as we go through this permitting process, we're following all the codes that Bedminster has laid down before us. Another area that's unique to the championship that will be temporarily built and then brought down after the championship's completion is our office trailer and media center area. If you note, this is the parking lot adjacent to the clubhouse at Trump National Golf Club Bedminster, where a lot of our build out, as we call it, will take place. So we'll have a our media center, which is the largest tent in the bottom right, our concessionaire back of house, which is those colored trailers in the upper right, and our other trailers, which will be our back of house, our operating offices and what have you for our staff and for our vendors as well. On property to appropriately service and make sure our guests are having a great time while on site, we're going to set up 6 public concession areas throughout the golf course. We're also going to make sure and include facilities, restroom facilities, right next to those areas, so they'll be able to utilize those facilities while on site. As I mentioned, we're working with the health services officers to make sure that those areas are up to code and to their specifications. But they're strategically located throughout the golf club to make sure that our fans and our guests are well taken care of throughout their experience. A few other areas that were asked to address via, again, your special events permit application were our sound system needs. Sound system needs for our championship. Golf's a pretty quiet sport. And our media center will be one that'll have some PA as the players and VIPs address the media on site. Another area will be our closing ceremony area on the 18th green. That'll be for our champion and our winner who will address the public as well as some USGA officials. And then we'll also just make mention that the USGA has contracted a sound carrier that'll help facilitate all these needs. Last thing I wanted to make mention of tonight was our signage plan, and working with your zoning officer, we've gone ahead and made mention of our desire to not only place signage throughout the golf course to properly notify our guests of not only the nuances and the direction of some golf holes and some amenities that are at their disposal, but also proper evacuation, exit, and entrance areas as well. But we're also going to place signage throughout the town, making sure that those who are visiting for the first time know exactly where to be and how to get there. So things like our parking lot, our main gate, different parking lots for different groups will be denoted, and we're using that through hard signs as well as variable message boards and working with the DOT, both locally here in Bedminster as well as New Jersey State. That kind of wraps it up for me, Mr. Mayor, in our presentation tonight. I wanted to turn it over and see if there are any questions maybe.
What's the traffic pattern that you anticipate folks coming from out of town getting to the general parking?
Yeah, sure. So we're looking at directing the majority of our traffic off I-78, either east or west, traveling on Rattlesnake Bridge Road, and then making that right onto Lamington and entering our general parking lot through Cowperthwaite Road onto Redtail Farm. And exiting that Redtail Farm through their main gate, if you will, which is right next to I-78. And we'll have them exit there back onto I-78, either east or west. And both, sorry.
And if you're good with that, I take it that you've been involved in that traffic
We have
pattern?
spoken about that, yes, and that's a change from the original. Originally, it was supposed to come in right off Rattlesnake, and the concern would be major traffic congestion along the interstate Rattlesnake Bridge and really tie up that area. So we figured by sending it north and having one-way entrance, and then the exit will be, people will leave at all different times, so it should be a traffic concern.
And it keeps, obviously, most of the traffic out of 202, 206 in Lamington, put them to the other end of town.
It should.
Okay, good, thank you.
You said, as many as 60,000 guests?
That's what we're hoping for. If not,
Well, how many cars do you think you're going to get in the parking lot?
yeah, there's a schematic that we use. It's 2.5 to 3 people per car, if that, and we're talking about a maximum of 5,000 people per day. So you average about 2,000 cars a day, which Redtail Farm would more than handle. And we're also using some on-club locations for some of our VIP, our players. So we'll do, about 1,000 cars or so through that avenue as well. Hired a professional service to come in, not only prepare the areas for us to utilize, but also day in, day out, they'll be directing cars, utilizing the fields appropriately. Our backup facility will be Raritan Valley Community College if we do get enough rain.
That's going to be my question. What if you get a lot of rain sometimes? Okay,
Yeah, so
good.
we've worked with Raritan Valley to have them as a backup, and they've got plenty of paved spots for us to utilize.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know there's been a lot of plans for a long time. I think until 6 months ago, we thought this would be Bedminster's debut on the national scene. I will take the unusual circumstance. Is there anybody in the audience that has a question about this event?
Is the Secret Service involved in this as well?
So the Secret Service would be involved only if the president were here, in which case they would take over as lead agency. But that would be a decision made by them if he were on site.
For the record, can we have the name?
Dr. Schumann? We'll put it on the record. Okay. Anything else? All right. Having heard the presentation, if nobody has any questions, I'll take a motion to approve the site permit, the special event permit.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Best of luck. Let's hope for some good weather.
Thank you.
Hope that it all goes well. Which brings us to the next point, which is the public comment portion. We have that twice at every meeting. Any member of the public that wishes to be heard, please go to that same microphone, state your name and your address for the audio portion of the recording. We'll also have one at the end of the meeting.
How you doing? Bill Ray, 120 Riverwood Ave. We signed up for the notification for the ordinance, and I got the notification, and it works great. That's awesome. Thank you. But I do have some comments on it. Should I wait until later to bring it up or talk about it now?
Which ordinance?
It was the one for the FAR with the definitions that were changed.
That's going to, we're just, it's being withdrawn, Judy, and we're going to have...
So we'll officially withdraw that this evening when we get to the ordinance section, and I know we have to
Bill,
correct.
so there was a typo in there that affected which zone was being impacted by some of the changes, and that correction is a big enough change that we're actually going to withdraw the FAR ordinance, reintroduce it, and the public hearing will be
June 5th.
June 5th.
But before asking you, telling you to go away and come back on June 5th, how about when we do that, I'll open up public comment on that. And when we talk about that ordinance and we withdraw it and reintroduce it, we'll ask you to come up and you can comment on it that time.
How June 5th is going to play out for me. I'd love to be here.
Well, my point is, give us the comment tonight when we reintroduce.
Yeah.
You do that?
Yeah, can I?
Well, yeah, give us a few minutes when we introduce that ordinance, and we'll let you get up and speak your piece.
Thank you.
All right. That'll be just a few minutes, it looks like, on the agenda. Please.
Good evening, Dr. Jim Schumann, 22 Crestmont Road.
Good evening.
I would like to thank you for working with the Congress and Leonard Lance to get the reimbursement. My question is, did you receive from Washington the ways and means by which we go about getting this reimbursement?
As a matter of fact, Ms. Sullivan has been on the phone with a member of the Justice Department within the past week.
And today again. So,
Yeah.
I'll give it in my report in just a few minutes. I do have.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any members of the public? If not, we'll move on to our monthly reports by our subcommittee chairs. We'll start with Mr. Olson.
Thank you, Mayor. Got a few. The mayor and I attended the most recent meeting of the Clarence Dillon Library Board, and we've got a really robust board. We also have an extremely capable president with Sandy Putman, and I think it's fair to say, really, it was an administratively based meeting, Mayor, where we were talking about the proper cadence of our meetings moving forward. I don't think any dramatic new news came out of that particular meeting. We have another one coming up on this Wednesday. Stacey, Larry, and I attended the joint meeting of the Open Space, Environmental, and Recreation meeting a couple of weeks ago. And that meeting is really an opportunity for these very critical committees to come together, kind of open their kimonos, so to speak, and look for synergies and opportunities to leverage each other.
Beth Davidson gave a tremendous presentation. Is she here?
She just walked in.
Oh, great. And she may be busy talking. Beth, are you back there? Huh? Beth, I was speaking about you. Okay, just want to let you know. And I was just talking about the joint meeting we had recently, where you gave a very thorough and understandable, I think, overview of all the different ways that monies can be had for obtaining open space, maintaining and whatnot, but it really put it all together for me. And I was very grateful that at that joint meeting we had the opportunity to have Beth, who I think just brings so much to the table, and you're such a great asset to our town, and I just wanted to acknowledge you and thank you for making time for us. And I'll let my colleagues, I was there representing the Recreation Committee, which really doesn't have any money or anything, unlike some of the other committees that were represented there. So we're taking I think a fast follow approach to what initiatives the other committees may be undertaking. Stacy and I also, along with Judy, met with Captain Tom Lynch of the Bedminster Far Hills Fire Department, and this was at Tom's initiative. He wanted to get together with us and benchmark the ideas he had for his allocation in the budget, and which, as usual, I think made great sense to us. Tom is always very well prepared and does a lot of due diligence. One example is that you'll recall they have a need for new gear for their folks, and Tom has been really very vigorous in trying to find out how to do this even more economically, and he's come up with a strategy to do that by going with another vendor. So they're going to start off getting some sample gear that they get to use for a while, and should they move forward, it will be at a price, he'll be saving, I believe, about 10 or 15%.
It was like 20%.
It was 20%, yeah, moving forward. So, as usual, I learned a lot spending time with Tom, and also allowed Judy and Stacy to chime in. But it was really, he was proactive, came to us, said, look, this is what I'm thinking about doing these various things, and we were all pretty supportive of his ideas. Finally, this week I have meetings with Rec, Board of Health, and we have another library meeting coming up. So that's for me.
Thank you very much. Mr. Jacobs.
Thank you, Mayor. As Ken said, we had the joint meeting with Rec, Open Space, and Environmental. I was there as the liaison for the Environmental Commission, and Beth gave her presentation on Green Acres, Open Space, and the role of NJCF as advisor to the municipality in Open Space and Green Acres programming. From the Environmental Commission perspective, a couple things that are going on. Environmental is running a well testing program in June, so folks who want to have their private water tested for contaminants and particulates can do so through the municipality. And that's coming up in June. Linda Forgassi is running that. Tim Walters is running a program for septic inspection reminders, and he's coordinating with the Board of Health to make sure that folks who have their septics are on a schedule to inspect, and so they're maintained properly. Moreski is going to reach out to Walter Lane at the county planning to look at the opportunity to run a farmers market in Bedminster, something we also discussed both with Rec and Open Space as well. And also there's going to be a liaison from the Environmental Commission to work directly with the school in promoting environmental programs that can be run in conjunction both through the school and the Environments Commission as well. Something also that came up in discussion at the joint meeting was the opportunity to do some charging stations at municipal parking for electric cars. Maybe some just was brought up, something we may look at in the future, but it was a great meeting and certainly a great opportunity to have all three commissions there together. Also last week,
Perhaps right underneath our solar panels.
perhaps right underneath, that was mentioned. We also had our meeting last week with BHHC, and one of the concerns that came up at BHHC was that when the township gave some of the affordable housing money to BHHC, it came with an allocation of how that money would be distributed between certain dedicated funds. BHHC is reporting that some of those funds are not particularly being used. Mary, you were at that meeting.
Or are redundant to county programs.
Exactly, and one of them, so the BHHC is going to come back to the township asking to reallocate some of those expenses that would amend the earlier agreement that the township had with BHHC when the money was first deposited. And so we should be seeing that probably in June, I would imagine. I think that was the date. And Mayor, that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Ms. Santucci.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to follow up on Ken's comments, on Larry's comments, I think one of the best things that came out of the joint meeting is it's really apparent that all the groups need to work together. It was really the first time, I think, at least that I was there, that everybody kind of sat in the same room and just really brainstormed a little bit, which you really never get to do that. And we had Beth there, and Beth was kind of there as a sounding board as well. So I think we're going to try to do that more often. Everybody kind of, you know, when you have good energy in the room, you kind of feed off one another, so it worked out really well.
Yes.
We're going to have a joint open space tour as well, and I don't think I actually picked a date. I don't recall, I don't have it in my notes, but we'll make sure that the date is on the website, and then also the water testing will be on the website as well. So our website and Facebook. And then we have historic preservation on Thursday at 6 p.m.
All right.
And that's all I have.
Well, thank the chairs again for arranging that meeting, and that's good. I know that'd been a long time in coming, and good.
No, it was really one of the most productive meetings, I think, that everybody has had, and it kind of, you know, reinvigorated everybody. And they're looking forward to it, and it's spring, and it's not 2 degrees anymore, so everybody's excited to get out there and do some work.
Yep.
Very good.
We'll have to bring Beth every time.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what makes it go? All right.
She was the secret sauce, yes.
All right. The only thing I have to add that hasn't already been touched on is, I believe it was a week ago. It was a week ago? Yeah. I was invited, and I appreciate the invitation, to the Somerset Hills School District, one of their 3 visioning meetings. In fact, I think tonight is their 3rd visioning meeting for their strategic vision. And I know they had, Board President Palma contacted me, I think, in January to provide a lot of input, as I think he did to all the sending district towns, for the strategic plan. And that was good, and I was glad I was there. A less than positive note, I think I was one of only 2 people from Bedminster at that meeting. It's too bad we didn't have a little more participation. I know the first meeting happened to be held on the same night as the Bedminster Board of Education meeting, which made it difficult for any members of the Bedminster Board to meet, and of course, 3rd meeting is tonight, so. But we went well. I think that's a very important thing, and I hope there's some folks from Bedminster at that meeting tonight, because I think that's important that we participate. And that's all I have. Administrator's report. Sullivan.
Yes, sir. So to address the question that came before, back on Monday, May 8th, I was contacted by William Campbell, who is the Director of Budget and Grant Operations from the Department of Law and Public Safety, regarding the submission of a grant application in order to be reimbursed for Bedminster's costs that were related to President-elect Trump's visit last November, November 18th through the 20th. He also had a conference call with myself, our CFO, Debbie Stern, and a member of his staff who was designated to assist us in putting together this application. It's an application that we've never dealt with before. It's a little bit different than some of the FEMA applications that we've done. and they provided us the documents. We went through, got cooperation from the police department and public works department, put together all our various costs, and then put them together into the application itself. Got back, they asked that we get it back to them by last Thursday, so we could read it together. And they hope to get back to us one day this week. Actually, he did call me again today with a couple of questions, and then they'll get back to us to let us know, give us a copy. Our application will be submitted in tandem with the Somerset County Prosecutor's Office and any that may have come from the state police, and it'll go as one large application, and then they will let us know, what the outcome will be at a later time. I don't know what the time frame is. They said at the latest, worst case scenario would be funds would be here by early September, but he anticipated much before that time. So that's all I really know at this point. He said it will be a similar application going forward for future events. So they will probably assign a staff member to work with us to do that as well. So it very easy to do. It was nice.
Good.
So the other thing I just want to mention, the police department has been the recipient of another grant through the Somerset County. It's the Click It or Ticket campaign that will start May 22nd to June 4th. It will be for seatbelt enforcement. So they'll be out there, extra task force. I think we have 33 extra overtime hours, so just wear your seatbelt. And that's all I have.
Very good. I think it's probably a good time to just comment on the wake of your dealing with the costs from the presidential visit last weekend. I do want to thank all the folks, fire departments, the two fire departments, because both Pottersville and Bedminster Far Hills was out there, the rescue squad was out there. Chief, I want to thank you and your department. I know DPW and the entire staff had a lot of work to do, a lot of unknowns going into last weekend, and although I think the weather helped us a little bit, I think Bedminster looked pretty good last weekend, and I do want to thank everybody on staff for what they did to make things go as smoothly as it did. So, thank you. All right, if not, let's move on. A discussion on introduced ordinances. Well, let's start with an introduction of an ordinance, which is actually a withdrawal of an ordinance. So we'll talk about ordinance 2017-013, which will replace ordinance 2017-007 that we are looking to withdraw tonight. And before we go to that, let me make the unusual move of opening up to some public comment on the ordinance that is coming and going. Mr. Ray, and anyone else?
Bill Ray, 120 Riverwood Ave, Bedminster, Jersey. I think what I can do is I can show you what I did is in form of like a changes mode on that document itself. It might go real fast that way, if that's okay with you.
Wow, you printed out one for each one of us?
Oh, I try.
Thank you very much.
Bill? How you doing? Good, how are you?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Okay, so the first change, overall, I looked at the ordinance and I thought I could make some comments that would help improve it. And under section 2, under the GFA, I think you need to incorporate garage and storage areas in that, and you can see that I marked that in red. And then under the net habitable floor area, I think I made some good improvements here. It's up to you to make the changes and study it. But we look at the way this is written. The first half talks about livable area. When you look at the way they talk about the net habitable floor area, and then they have a qualification for a but thereafter. I think when you have after that qualification, I think you have to insert the word heated or unheated as it relates to the areas that would be the areas that were qualified as not livable. And I think what makes sense there is you could have a storage area that could be heated. A guy could be, a collector of stamps, or have some type of internet business where he wanted to be comfortable out in the storage area and wanted to heat that space, and there would be no reason, it wouldn't be unlawful to do that. And it would, but if you had that qualification in there, that certainly, shows that, that's how the space or that area could be used. Same way with some of the others, like a garage, a guy might want to tinker with his car, and that area could be heated, and until he's out there and comfortable, that area could be would be heated. Same with storage areas. Maybe there's a guy who wants to store wine, doesn't want his wine to freeze. If there's a barn that has, a bathroom in it, and they don't want the bathroom pipes to freeze, or they don't want the pipes that service the livestock to freeze. And I think just by making that simple little change, I think helps clean it up and make it a little bit more understandable. And then the other thing is, I think some of the formulas are kind of confusing when you go through this. There's like two different types of formulas. So if you go to the next page, they have these formulas, and they use the word up to on the lot area. And if you follow how the math comes out on that, the math doesn't come out to agree with any of the percentages of impervious coverage or building coverage when you look at it. So, and there's like two different types of math. I mean, I did a couple examples of the math, like on the first one on page, let's see, section 3, right? So if there was a 3-acre lot, and you had to meet a certain qualification of a minimum of 3 acres, and you had 3.1 acres, what would happen would be, under that scenario, you would be allowed 7% for maximum building coverage. Under the formula, the way it's written with the town, the way the interpretation from the town, you would just go through the formula, and it would come out to 5,000 square feet, which isn't even close to what you're allowed under their formula. I mean, I got an idea of how to fix it, but I still think that it really needs to be studied by your experts, because even with my simple change of taking the word up to and put of in there, you would increase the calculation to get it to 6,382 square feet for a 3-acre lot or 3.1 acre lot, which is still well under what you're allowed to do. But it doesn't make sense to me when you go through these formulas. There's different sets of formulas. The formulas don't match up with the lot coverages. I can go through another example. I did the next one in section 4, and I just happened to do the one on for the R1, and I used a 1.1 acre lot because the minimum would be an acre, and in that case, you would be allowed 12% for all dwellings, or 5,700 square feet, 5,749 square feet from the town. If you use the formula that's in there, and actually when you go on the website, you actually have to click here, and then it opens up another screen to do that. So when you do that, and you do the calculation, it comes out to 3,421 square feet, which is certainly not what is allowed in total under that of 5,700 square feet. Making a minor change by putting the word of in there, now the new calculation comes out to 4,795 square feet. And you'll notice there's a difference in section 5 in section 6, where you now have another formula which shows 55% and 45%. And so you got all these different formulas, and doing the math, none of the math adds up to any of the things that are outlined as what your impervious coverage is. So it's just, I think it needs to be cleaned up. If you want my help, I can give you more input, but I know you're withdrawing it anyway, so I appreciate your time.
Okay.
Maybe you'll take some of my comments under advisement and do some of them.
No, thank you. This is a very complicated ordinance, and it's being withdrawn because we found a few glitches
Well,
in between last time and this time, so.
There was also a typo on the one section in the beginning. Was a redundancy where you have service and storage areas in the beginning, but then in the qualified section after the but, you have it listed twice, so you would have to remove service and storage from the first section and then put it back in where it was new into the but section, after the but section. But didn't need a... Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
And Let the record show Mr. Stevenson is here. How did the award ceremony go?
It was very nice. It was great to be there. About 20 some odd awards went out, 4 from the committee, from the township. It was a great event.
Great. Very
Basketball
good.
team was represented well.
Very good. All right, so that leaves us with ordinance 2017-013. This is an ordinance of the Township of Bedminster, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, to amend and supplement the land use regulations of the Township of Bedminster, specifically Chapter 13 entitled Land Management, as to certain setback and floor area ratio requirements in residential and non-residential zones, and sign requirements in the BN, that's Village Neighborhood Zone.
Thank you.
Excellent. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend Chapter 13 entitled Land Management of the Township of Bedminster General Code, General Ordinances to amend certain setback and FAR requirements in residential zones and to amend sign requirements in the Village Neighborhood Zone. Public hearing for this ordinance is scheduled for June 5th, 2017, 7 p.m. in these chambers. Before I ask for a motion, this one's been a long time in coming, and we thought we had it going in the fall, and we found some issues in the fall, and there's an awful lot to this. I'd like to get a sense of the committee on what you think.
Well, I guess I would start, this is the relief that we were kicking around at the land use last year, right? The thought here was to give some folks some relief, some of the accessories or decks or pools or that sort of thing, if they want to put in the generator, just to give little tweaks here and there where we were looking at the code, trying to streamline it, trying to figure out really what can give the taxpayers a little bit of a break in terms of putting some money into their homes. Had instances, I think all of us in the past year or two, where folks have come up to us and indicated that they're looking to move out of town because they just can't get anything done with their properties, and we thought that the current existing requirements were a bit too stringent, and we could loosen up some of them with preserving the character of Bedminster, but giving some folks some additional coverage use so that they could do things like what I just mentioned, pools and that sort of thing.
My only question is really, we found a typo in the last one, or something that had some issues. I'm not really...
Typos we can address as the ordinance proceeds to the public hearing. I think Attorney Bilardo
Well, as you
would
know,
agree.
I can't comment on this ordinance because I was not the chef. It came from your
Right.
land use professionals, attorneys, engineers, and planners. So there's been several comments made tonight. I'm not the one to address them to. You would have to address them to those professionals who authored the ordinance.
I certainly, my only feeling is I'm feeling gun shy because the last ordinance was not so much typos, it was potentially very odious math that has substantive ramifications to it. So I recall.
Well, the last one, the issue was there was a couple mislabeled districts. That was the...
Well,
that was our big problem.
What Mr. Ray just addressed is beyond that.
No, that's why I'm asking this now. I'm saying the previous issue was districts that were labeled wrong.
Right.
Not math, but
Yeah.
I have questions only because I haven't been able to wrap my head around checking out all these calculations that Bill's come up with to know if there's something to it or not. But I would to go around, go around through this again and then go back through this. I suppose we could introduce and go back and check it out again, and if we still have some issues, we can go through the withdraw and
Is it?
Right, and to the extent that they are not significant issues, as Bill said, if they're here to clarify and not change and remain consistent with the intent, that's something that depending upon whether it's John or whether it's Collins,
My-
that
Right.
it may be not significant changes
Right.
that could be administratively
My
cured
feeling
over
is
here.
perhaps you want your folks at the land use side to take one more close look at it,
Mhm.
address some of the comments tonight, and make sure this is correct so we don't have to withdraw this.
We have to find out who the actuary is on the land use board, and get them some numbers.
Yeah, we've got a lot of wordsmiths. I don't know if we have any mathematicians over there. So I guess the question for the committee is, do we wish to introduce tonight, or do we wish to give it another cycle to make sure that it is what we want it to be?
The next time would be June 5th, correct?
Right.
So,
That would be then an introduction.
correct. I don't think that's that far down the road. If everybody feels more comfortable, I'm fine with that.
I would.
I was fine with introducing tonight. I'm still of that same opinion.
The land board wouldn't have a chance to look at this till their second meeting in June anyway, with the time frame.
Professionals.
The professionals
probably
could.
But,
give
but,
us
the-
some
but I'm
feedback.
saying,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be able to do anything with it till then anyway, so it's not delaying it that much.
Got it.
What Bill brought up, I think mostly what we have here, it seems like there's formulas that may or may not add up. There'd be,
If they don't add up, they're substantive.
okay, all right.
I'm looking, and Larry, certainly, I mean, I would defer to you if you said you've actually substantively read this. I'm looking at the ordinance, and it's got a lot of, it's not exactly differential equations or something, but it's a long, extensive list of setbacks and some formulas, and, I for one, and shame on me, I just assume that the mathematics has been managed by somebody. I don't read that with that eye to it.
Actually, most of the changes to the mathematics, and I think that's one of the things we have to look at, is that the changes from the base ordinance were generally in the setback FAR, some tweaks to some of the definitions. Actually, some of the comments, I think that on the up to and ofs, those are not necessarily changes that were being proposed.
The up to,
It may be going back to
the up
original
tos and
base.
of doesn't really bother me. And, the heated versus non-heated, quite frankly, you can have a very good debate that once you heat a building, once you heat a space, it becomes habitable. So that part I'm actually fine with what we have. Because I think the intention is that if it's heated, it's habitable. Sorry, that's what it is. Because if people, if you want to, but I'm a little gun shy on making sure that the formulas make sense, because if the formulas don't make sense, we've got to live with this for a long time, and this is a very sensitive ordinance. I think I'm inclined to let the professionals look at it. We can hold off, introduce it June 5th. If we find out from them everything is fine and the math does work, because I'm not prepared to do math in public here, then we've already got land use approval, and we just introduced June 5th, and we have the public hearing the second June meeting. But I would rather not end up having to live with something on the books that, we've come a long way on this. I'd rather be right than right now. So,
Works for me.
all right,
So we table.
table. All right, let's go to, do we have to vote on wrong 07?
No, just,
Okay.
it was there for reference.
All right. So that brings us to public hearing on ordinances, and we have ordinance 2017-008, and that's an ordinance amending Chapter 13 again, entitled Land Management, Township of Bedminster, Section 13-802.2, to site plan exemptions. Purpose of this ordinance is to amend Chapter 13 to allow certain site plan exemptions. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Is there any member of the public that wishes to comment on ordinance 2017-008? Any member of the committee?
I should have mentioned that during committee comments, the Land Board did consider this ordinance and found that it was not inconsistent with the master plan.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Can I motion for ordinance 2017-008?
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Roll call vote, Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye. Ordinance number 2017-009, this is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of motor vehicles and heavy equipment for the Public Works Department. This ordinance will fund the purchase of motor vehicles and heavy equipment for the Public Works Department as a part of our regular vehicle replacement program at a total amount not to exceed $75,000. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Is there any member of the public that wishes to comment on ordinance 2017-009? Any member of the committee? Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Can I get a motion for ordinance 2017-009?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye. Ordinance 2017-010, this is an ordinance authorizing the funding of the Capital Road Management Plan. This ordinance will fund the road management plan, including but not limited to reconstruction, repair, and mitigation of roads, drainage, and stormwater systems on various roads in Bedminster Township in an amount not to exceed $200,000. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Any member of the public wishes to comment on 2017-010? Seeing none, any member of the Township Committee? If not, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Can I motion for 2017-010?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2017-011, an ordinance authorizing the engineering design for improvements to Meadow Road. This ordinance will provide funding for the first phase of engineering design for a 2017 capital project for improvements to Meadow Road, for which the township has received an NJDOT fiscal year 2016 municipal aid program grant for $223,500. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any of the public wish to comment on 2017-011?
If I could just note, it does note the first phase, and although we have a grant for $223,500, this first phase is just for $50,000 for the engineering portion.
Okay. Is there anybody wishes to comment? If not, get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion for 2017-011?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call vote, Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye. Finally, ordinance 2017-012, this is an ordinance authorizing the funding of the Capital Facility Improvement Plan. This ordinance will fund the Facility Improvement Plan, Bedminster Township, into an amount not to exceed $25,000. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing on this ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Is there any member of the public wishes to comment or question? 2017-012. Please. Dr. Schumann.
Schuman.
Yep, thank you.
Restaurant Road. I would just like to know what a facility improvement plan is.
Facilities around the complex here, whether it be the,
Here?
yeah,
Thank you.
yep. It could be as simple as replacing windows or fixing the roof on the police building or the DPW building. Any other questions or comments? I'll take a motion to close.
So moved. I'll make the motion to close
Public hearing.
public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion for 2017-012?
So moved.
Second.
Roll vote, Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Agenda. Doesn't appear we have anything on the consent agenda. We have lots of resolutions tonight, starting with 2017-055. This is authorizing seasonal employees for the rec department, June 23rd, 2017 to August 11th. That is Camp Bedminster, I believe. Any comments or questions on this resolution? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
This would be a roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye. Resolution 2017-056, this is identifying the Recreation Department 2017 Spring and Summer Program fees. Any comments or questions? No. Not, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote because it is fees. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci? Aye. Mayor Parker?
Aye. Resolution 2017-057, expressing support for the Click It or Ticket mobilization of May 22nd to June 4th. Any comments or questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
So,
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
2017-058, this is authorizing insertion of a special item in the revenue and an insertion of an item of appropriation in the budget to include funding for the 2017 New Jersey Click It or Ticket grant. So if you get something that's after the budget has been passed, you have to have an in and you have to have an out, and that's what this is about. Are there any questions or comments on 2017-058? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
second.
Roll call vote, Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye. Resolution 2017-059, authorizing a refund of Board of Health escrow in the total amount of $353.53. Any comments or questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye. And Resolution 2017-060, this is appointing a seasonal laborer in the Department of Public Works. John, anything to comment on that?
My seasonal employee that was with us for the last 2 years did not come back this year due to health concerns, so we're just putting somebody else on.
Good. Good interviews?
One.
All right.
One application is all I received.
But you're happy with them?
Yes.
Or her?
Local Baskin Ridge.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Not, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
That brings us to the approval of the bill list. Can I get a motion to approve the bill list pending the approval of individual invoices?
So moved.
Second.
Second. First.
Roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson? Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye. Discussion items. Is there anything that anyone wants to bring up as a discussion item that's not already somewhere else on the agenda? New business? Anybody have any new business? Old business? Pony Farm? Anything new on that?
Continuing to follow up with the details we discussed at the last meeting, and hopefully we'll have them soon.
Okay.
I'll send them over to you.
Potential sale of 130 Hillside Avenue? Judy, anything change on that?
So I finally got some confirmation today that I can finally get all potential concerned parties together for a meeting on May 25th. Hopefully that works for you as well.
It does, yep.
So we'll be meeting here at 10 o'clock on Thursday the 25th. We'll have the zoning officer, we'll have the engineer, we'll have Stevenson, and all potential contiguous property owners who might be interested.
Okay.
So hopefully we can, move forward.
Okay. Just a couple other things, this might be in the discussion items. Some constituent issues, somebody brought up the fence and some of the repairs at the dog park. There've been some pictures put on social media about the temporary fence at the dog park, and I don't think a lot of people understand why it's a temporary fence at the dog park, because it moves. John, do you want to just reiterate the character of the dog park and why?
Sure. The dog park, which we had, was a permanent dog park, was in the Burnt Mills Park area. I'm sorry. The Burnt Mills Park area. During that construction time, we did put a temporary facility at River Road Park, thinking that could take up some of the need at that point in time. Unfortunately, as it got to be well known, it became a temporary park, more of a permanent park. The grass in the area where it was initially, which was behind the JVH house, and where that cul-de-sac area was that we put in. So we did move it to a different area last fall, and unfortunately over the year, or a portion of the year, wintertime, the grass and snow fence that it is has taken a toll. So we need to do something more permanent. I did meet with Jim Christie a week ago, took him on a tour, talked to him about it. So that's one of those areas, either it's going to be open space that needs to talk about it, and we need to spend the money.
Okay.
$10,000, $10,000 to $15,000 is what it's going to cost to put fencing in that area.
What about wear and tear? Meaning,
So-
if the dog park is always in the same area and it doesn't get moved around, what ends up happening to the grass and the...
So what we're planning on doing is, the thought is at this point in time, is to taking two sections so that we can, one section rests, so we can keep rotating them around. At some point in time, the grass is going to go away, and there's no good surface that's out there that we can put in there. At this point, sand potentially is about the only thing we can potentially put in there. So.
If you did two areas, though, would you still have to use kind of a temporary fencing, though?
No, it'll be a permanent chain link fence 4 feet high. But it would be permanent, would not be able to move.
You would just close off one section?
Correct.
So you have two.
So it would be two separate sections, so there would be entrances into both, and we'd have to make gates for servicing both those areas.
Sounds like some discussion for not only open space, but recreation.
Recreation
So,
and environmental a little bit, too.
Yeah, if you all want to, it's a good thing for them to discuss and see if they can bring us back some feedback also.
Yeah, we need a lot of input.
I'm waiting for somebody to say go, and we can go ahead
Yep.
at this point.
All right.
So.
Well, thanks. That's some good feedback. All right, that brings us to our second bite of the apple for public comments. Most of you have been here for a lot of meeting, so if you have any comments, time to go up to that podium. Go ahead. State your name and your address for the audio portion of the audio and video record.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Byer. I'm 157 Riverwood Avenue. I think I congratulate the town on handling the president's visit last week. I was wondering if you have a general policy that you can publish for the people who live in the town who either want to avoid the area so they're not disrupted, or who want to exercise their First Amendment rights. Is there a general policy that the town has developed or planned? It would be nice to know what it is.
I don't think we have any areas that to avoid.
The chief sent out a really nice...
But, yeah, the chief had the letter outlining a way to congregate. But I know.
Published or?
Yes, that
Yeah.
was published
Went out in the
on
newspaper.
some of our, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Chief.
Well, being the fact that, obviously where Trump National Golf Course is located, the logistics there are not favorable to, there are no public areas. So we identified through the tax maps that Mr. Township actually has a recreational area at the corner of 206 and Lamington Road, which is, east of the library along that stretch of the roadway. So that was the ask. Everybody wanting to come to exercise their First Amendment right to, you could park on Lucas Brook Road and then you could, do what you want to do at the corner of that roadway.
There was a substantial congregation there that I saw.
Yeah, I saw maybe 18 to 22 people
Yeah.
at the height of it.
So will you get advance notice when the president is coming to town that you can publish?
A little bit, but probably not. Most of the advance notice you'll probably see in the paper
Okay.
maybe hours after we get it or something like
Your
that.
understanding, he will be coming in via helicopter to your airport and then motorcading, or who
He
knows?
came into the Somerset Airport and he left through other means. And I don't know nobody has given us a clue as to whether they found one means better than another, or if it'll be a regular recurrence or not.
Or if they have 4 or 5 other alternates.
Yeah, so they don't know.
Jeff,
Okay, but you don't anticipate any closing of Lamington Road or anything like that?
sign up for Nixle, Jeff?
Yeah.
That's it's an auto service. If you sign up for it, it will give you alerts for road closures, accidents, and it'll be published on that, and it's an automatic text messaging service.
That service?
Nixle.
Yeah.
On our website?
And we've had that for, God, about 8 or 10 years, and usually it's for Sandy, natural disasters, events, things that you need to get the word out. It's kind of a reverse 911.
Well, this isn't a disaster, but it's quite an event.
No, but it's usually run through the chief.
Okay.
And the chief of police trying to get word out on things like that. And we try not to use it for social media as a social media means, because we don't want people getting texts every day from the township, because people will ignore them eventually, but usually for just major events. And be a good opportunity to sign up for that and get the word out, sign up, because if there are road closures, then that's probably where they'll be.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you. Good questions. Any other questions or comments?
Johansson, I live up on 55 Hillside Avenue, and thanks for noticing the pictures I put up of the dog park this past weekend, and thank you for informing us of what the plan is. I appreciate that you're trying to do something about the dog park. I just want to thank you. Glad somebody saw it and noticed it, because it's been a little bit of a burden on dog owners all around town, and people have been starting to not take their dogs there because of the poor situation at the dog park currently. And I don't know if the grass is such an issue for the town that we have to keep regrowing the grass every year, because if you keep dogs there, the grass is eventually going to disappear, like you've seen at Burnt Mills Park. So if there's an issue, or if there's anything that the community can do, or if we can start doing some fundraising outside, or if there's any help that we can provide as a community, please let me know. I'll be happy to participate and lead that if possible.
Well, no problem. I mean, but I think, most people want to take their dog to a place that, if you have a torrential rains like we had this past weekend, it's not all muddy and messy, because they take them out to the park and they don't want to have to
Yeah, but
give
unfortunately,
the dog a bath at the end, so we try to keep it as nice as possible,
unfortunately, though, if you have a bunch of dogs, it's going to get muddy, and it's just got to get muddy, so you'll never get away from that.
But also don't be afraid, it's great to put it on social media, but you can always email us direct.
Oh, of
I'm at mayor@bedminster.us. You can get,
It's
so
the
no
quickest
problem.
way to communicate to family and friends
Okay.
when something happens.
It did. I
Yeah.
saw,
And
I,
news-
I,
we all
I
saw
saw
it.
it within minutes of you
guys
posting.
do, obviously, as well, so thank you for that.
But thank you for your input.
What
But
kind
but
of
also
dog do
he
you have?
raises the point about
What kind of dog do you have?
It's a mixed Labrador Coonhound.
what he could do, and this is something that, anyone who's been a liaison to rec committee, and John is certainly aware of this, about different fundraising opportunities that Robin and the rec committee have raised about trying to come up with a more permanent fencing scenario other than this temporary snow fence. So you may want to pop up to a
Should
rec.
I contact Robin?
You can go on our calendar on bedminster.us on the calendar.
Yeah, I know it's on
Shows
there, and- yeah,
when the
and that's
meetings
couple
are, and you can come.
I didn't know if
and
the
then
rec
conversation.
committee meetings are open for the public.
Yeah,
Sure.
oh,
That's why they're on the
absolutely.
calendar.
They're in a small room, but
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm
Really,
pretty-
the
you know, I
more
can
people
squeeze
that
it.
utilize the dog park and the better ideas, the people who actually utilize
Yeah.
it, we would love that.
All committee meetings are
Perfect.
open.
Well, thank you, I appreciate it.
Oh,
And
thank
We love Bedminster, so.
Martin, I'm the liaison to rec, so if you'd like, just catch me when you see me.
All right, I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Denise King, 28 Foxwood in Bedminster. I just wanted a couple of things, and I do want to thank you all very much for the good work really that's done with these dog parks. I've been using it since I've been here, and the dog parks it is tough. I mean, it's very tough to take care of, as you're saying. I had my own, I had 6 acres and my own kennels when I was down in South Jersey, and what I used was pea gravel. So not sand, but the small stones. So just a suggestion, and maybe I should come and give some comments for recreation, because I have, right now I just have one, but I had 2 big dogs, and when you have big dogs, you need a place to run, and that you want to keep it clean. I have to say, though, as this woman's saying, thank you, I find it really well kept, because I use both of them. Depends on what day it is. And yes, they do get muddy. And I know we don't want to use chemicals in this area, because obviously if you use pea gravel, then eventually you get weeds. But I don't know, if you get enough dogs, that they might keep the weeds down. So it's just, again, a thank you to our recreation department, because they do a nice job. One year, in fact, I caught them and gave some candy, because they keep it clean and keep it with plenty of dog bags, the poopy bags. But the River Road Park, you're right, it's been kind of a mess. You really almost can't use it much at all. So that's just my 2 cents, and yes, I would like to be able to give some input to the recreation.
Sure.
Well, and stay tuned. Sometime this year, we hope, you'll be able to, you already can, go from River Road Park to Burnt Mills Park on gravel, but we're hoping to improve that surface sometime over the course of the year.
Now, they're a little bit big for a dog park, but there's a next size.
Oh, no, I know. No, my point is, I think we're hoping to get that paved.
No, that's great. Actually, I like it, because I do walk that as well. So, again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Last call? Let's go to Township Committee comments. Mr. Stevenson.
Well, I had a great vacation last week, so I don't have anything to report in terms of committee meetings. I wasn't going to go to the joint meeting of the rec, so I'll pass the torch on that to somebody else. But I've got JVH next week and rec coming up, so a substantive update next time.
Very good. Mr. Olson.
I look forward to the day that the Pony Farm is no longer an old business.
There you go. Yes,
Very soon, very soon.
I do too. Mr. Jacobs.
Well, if anyone's noted, there's been trees popping up around town. John, those are our trees from DOT.
They are.
And they've been, I guess, the first planting around the exit 22 ramp off of 287.
That is actually the DOT's planting for the project that they're doing. And we had our trees put in a couple weeks ago, Burnt Mills Park, and the riparian buffer down on the new hike and bike trail.
So how many trees are we up to at this point?
I don't know, but we ended up with 81 extra on Burnt Mills Park, which we had to put more. So we planted 81 more trees at Burnt Mills Park.
So that was a total of 1,100 that they had to provide?
Trees.
Wow.
So there's a couple different plantings. There's a spring planting and there's going to be a fall planting. The fall planting is going to encompass the River Road Park, the Stoll Natural Area. They're going to try to put some more trees in that area.
Looks great. So
Yeah.
we'll thank our friends over at DOT for the planning schedule. That's it, Mayor.
I do not have anything else to add. We have an executive session. There will be nothing coming out of executive session that will be voted on.
Mayor, I have one more thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've missed you. I apologize.
No, but we have so many people here really
Sure.
relative to what we usually have, so I just wanted to mention the Essex horse trials
Oh, yeah.
again, because even though it's pretty close by.
Mhm.
So on June 24th and Sunday, June 25th at Moreland Farm, the Essex Horse Trials Country Weekend. I know it's just May, but all of a sudden it's June.
Nope.
We just want to maintain, interest and the equestrian nature.
And there are places all over town, I know of one very close to me, where tickets are on sale, so please investigate where you can get your tickets, because we'd like that to be a good event.
And as we know, it's not all of our Hills property, it's on Bedminster property as well.
Okay. That was it.
Oh, no, thank you, I'm sorry. Okay, can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
All in favor? We'll see you in the back shortly.
Good night.
So time now, oh, now I gotta put my, all right. Time now is 9:39. We are out of executive session. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.
Good.